When I was 11, I graduated from 6th grade with honors and at the top of my class. At the time, I lived with my grandparents in El Salvador, and I was an outgoing, outspoken, confident young girl who was incredibly gregarious. My grandparents provided me with a loving home, and although we were surrounded by the Civil War, I was really sheltered and felt at peace, but not 100%, mainly because I longed to come to Miami and to be with my mom. My mom had escaped the war, and I wanted to be with her because although this wonderful home I was provided with by my grandparents, I did not belong. I was the odd man out. My dad, a U.S. citizen, made me also a U.S. citizen. So most people, family members, would say, hey, you don't belong. You're not a Salvadorian. You're an American. So for that reason, I wanted to go and I wanted to come where I belong and I could fit in and be with my mom. At this point, the day finally came, and I came to Miami. Now, little did you know that, first of all, my mom, in her wisdom, felt that I was too young and naive to move to the 7th grade. So a top honor girl went back. At the same time, when I finally got to my school, I was in for a shock. Once again, I did not belong. I was that girl that was the odd man out. I was too dark-skinned for the white kids. The black kids thought I was too light for them. And the Cuban-American kids that spoke Spanish often told me that my Spanish was weird, and I used too many weird words. So my confidence plummeted, and I felt so alone and shy. So much so that when I finally made it to the 7th grade, I walked into the wrong history class, and I had stayed there for a good 6 months because I was too afraid to raise my hand and say I didn't belong. Until one thing changed, and that was my zip code. My mom moved us to a different part of town, and I went to a school where diversity was celebrated. We had kids from all over the world, different cultures and religions. And finally, I started to fit in. I tried out for cheerleading. I went into the drama club. I became a little bit more confident because my group of friends accepted me. And all of a sudden, I began to see that this was a way that I could blossom. By 10th grade, I went to the woods of North Carolina with my friends from church, and this particular trip gave me another big lesson. The lesson is that I am not a woods girl. I don't do very well with going to the bathroom in the woods, building a fire in the woods. Ultimately, I started to feel once again that perhaps I didn't belong with these friends that had accepted me where I fit in. So I decided to do the next best thing. And that is to figure out that every time I felt out of place in the woods, whether it be building a fire, going to the bathroom, or sleeping in the cold ground, that I would take that opportunity to take a tiny step and do the thing and celebrate and give myself props for showing up and doing the thing. All of a sudden, I started to build my confidence in what I can do, and I started to feel better. Fast forward, when I began my corporate career and I climbed the corporate ladder, I did a lot of that, showing up, even though I did not feel comfortable all the time, and even though some situations were out of my comfort zone. But I reminded myself that every time I was out of my comfort zone, it was an opportunity for me to take that tiny step, to show up. until one day I was asked to speak at a national conference, and all of the fear and self-doubt began to come back to me because I thought, what if I am not accepted? What if I don't belong again? Who am I to think that I can be here and speak in front of a crowd? However, I decided that discomfort was that opportunity to step into a little bit of confidence. And as I walked onto the floor, I looked at everybody and I said, hello, my name is Maria Juliana Guadalupe Deluca Rivera Pino Espinal. For the first time, embracing my identity and who I was made me belong, made me be in the right place in the right room. Ultimately, the lesson has been that consistent action gets you traction. In the book Tiny Habits by behavioral scientist Dr. B.J. Fogg, he talks about how you must have 3 things present in order for you to create a new behavior. The first is motivation, the second is the ability to do the behavior, and the third one is a prompt, a cue, something that reminds you to do the behavior. So for me, I started to see, like, oh, wait a minute. Additionally, the other thing that Dr. Fogg talks about in the book is that the anatomy of a habit is A, B, C. Ability to do a behavior, doing the behavior, and 3, celebrating that you did it. And celebration doesn't have to be crazy. It could just be a simple, I did it, good job. Because when we celebrate, our brain changes. Emotion, positive emotion, is the thing that creates our ability to cement that new behavior. Over the course of the years, I have seen that many people of diverse backgrounds and identities, even though have the opportunity to show up, have the opportunity to be heard, don't take their shot, like Hamilton says. If anything, they really stay behind and not step into their confidence. Diversity and inclusion expert Brene Myers says that diversity is being invited to the party. Inclusion is being asked to dance. How many of us have been at the party, have been asked to be at the table, and yet we do not take that step? My friends, I want to invite you to allow the discomfort of the moment, that moment that you're second-guessing yourself, to have that be the cue that reminds you that you can step even a little bit. And when you step in, you give yourself props, and you begin to create that level of confidence that will allow you to show up, that will allow you to step into the room and dance. Because that's what we have been created to. Imagine a world where we can walk the wilderness, when we can be in the woods. And even though it may not be where we want to be, we will be able to do the things that get us out of the woods. Imagine a world where you embrace your identity, show up, and give yourself props for showing up every single day. This is the world that we're all invited to, my friends. Don't sit in the sidelines of the party. Walk in, take your bow, and enjoy, because we only have one life. And don't forget, go confidently in the direction of your dreams. Thank you.